Thank you for tuning in today. Our mission is to equip and empower you to dig in and soar higher, doing the things that you love. So get ready to live life fully. Well, hey, Miss Katrina, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here again.
Yes, I'm so happy to talk to you. It's been about 10 months since we last talked. It was 2 months after the pandemic.
Right. Sounds like it's been 10 years. It feels like it's been 10 years.
I know. Well, we're surviving.
Thriving. That's right. We are getting by. I don't know what the rules are now. I don't even know what the rules are anymore. It changes so quickly, and then some people are in restaurants now and some people are still, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I know. And you're still meeting your clients on Zoom, right?
Yes. So I do plan to go back in April. Um, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable. I'm still going to be using masks on. The last time I had a client was, I believe I took on a job in June and it was a garage. So it was open. So it was like, all right, maybe I can take this on. But then it just got so tasking that because you have your mask on and the kind of service that I give, it has to be hands-on as well. You have to be with the same with your client in the same room. So since then, I've just been working with people through Zoom, which has been really good. It has allowed me to cater to people who aren't in California. I've actually been able to go nationwide, which is really awesome. It's teaching me a lot.
See, look at you. You pivoted. You say, hey, I'm going to keep doing this. And I
I
think that's
pivoted.
awesome to do it on Zoom.
Right. And like and what it is and but it's good that you mentioned that because yesterday or like 2 days ago I also did a workshop for professional organizers so they can learn how to do virtual organizing for their business because I think there's what you think is difficult, it's really not as difficult as long as like, oh, you get the steps. And then now you're more confident doing it. And so yeah, the way that I do my clients is they send photos to me and then I just review it. And then we go through the why is it here? Maybe is there another space in the house so we could move this then? And it's the same thing, but it's more on the coaching aspect, which I'm enjoying really.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So it's that time of the year when everyone is starting to do their spring cleaning. And so I
Yes.
thought this would be a perfect time to talk to you again. And so, can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Katrina Green. I am the owner of Badass Home Life. I've been a professional organizer slash organizing coach for about 3 years now, but my love for organizing has always been there. I've always really been the kind of person who wants systems in place. And I also offer interior design services or interior styling services, but that's just really more of like, we get you organized first. We got to put a system in your home first before we can do the aesthetic aspect. And a little bit tidbit, I guess, is I got purple hair now. That's pretty much a
And
little thing
it's
about me.
longer. It's so much longer now too.
It is. It's the pandemic.
Your quarantine look.
Yeah, it's so much more maintainable because I don't really have to go out. So it's easier to like, all right, I'm not going to wash it for 3 days. It's fine. No one's going to see me.
Well, I like it. I really like it.
Thank you.
It's one of my favorite colors. I like pink and then purple and I orange too. I'm
I see in your background the
yeah,
orange and
yeah,
the
I love
purples.
orange. Yeah, I like orange too. Yeah. So our topic today, Katrina, is stress less, find it fast. And so can you talk to us about the importance of organization?
Sure. So, excuse me, for me, organizing, you can definitely implement it in any aspect of your life, whether it's trying to manage your time, whether it's to manage your pantry. You have to have a little bit of a system in it. And it's also the way that I see organization, it's also very individual. Like your type of organizing, Joy, may be different from my type of organizing, for as long as it works, for as long as it less, the goal is for you to stress less. And if you do have that system in place, like let's say a time management, with my clients, I offer suggestions as to like how to time block your time block, how you can use really your time wisely. And then we start dissecting, are you on social media a little bit more than you want? Or are you spending a little bit more time with the grocery shopping? Maybe we could lessen all of those things so you can still do the things that you want to do. So organizing, the importance of organization really falls into the idea of having less to do, simplifying things so there's more for you to enjoy.
Yes, it's so freeing though to be organized, and for me, I need to be organized. I got a lot going on.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so busy and I don't have a lot of time to be running around looking for things,
Right.
Yeah, so it's good to have a system in place. And I don't like a lot of clutter. That's the other thing. So I do pretty well with my files and my paperwork. But my biggest challenge has been clothes. I manage 2 closets. I tried to get it down to 1, Katrina.
It's okay. If it's a part of you, if this is something that's about you that you love the most, you don't owe anybody the idea of like needing 2 closets. What I do, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. I was on Good Day Sacramento last Saturday, and I was offering spring decluttering for closets as well. So I'll just repeat the things that I offered. So the first step is keep it simple, keep it small. Start small. Start with your underwear, your bras, your socks, and then the accessories as well. Because like those are little things that like, all right, I think I could let go of these things, and then work your way up to like the bigger ones, as to like letting go of gowns, letting go of like the thicker sweaters. And then the next tip that I gave was, when you are going through your clothes, ask yourself the following questions. So ask yourself if this piece of clothing still resonates with you. Is it still the fashion that I like? Or am I holding on to this for nostalgic purposes? Like, let's say like, oh, I really looked good in this in 2008, but you're not really using it anymore in 2021. So that's one thing that you have to consider. The second one would be, does it still fit you well? Does it still make you feel good? And if not, if it's something that like, well, like, and I see this most of the time with my clients, like let's say they either just gave birth and want to get back to that size. Are they, in order for you to get there, are you doing the work to actually fit into those clothes? And if not, maybe it's time for us to let go and embrace who you are now. And then another would also be like, if you did lose weight and you're so scared that like, maybe I might go back to that size, so I'm going to hold on to it. But that's not the person that you are anymore. So those are the things. And lastly is always check for the holes. Always check for like the ones that are raggedy already and like it's time to go. And I know that it's, in a way, a lot of us also put so much memory into a piece of just an item, whether it's clothes or it's a little trinket. Sometimes it's the memory that we have. It's like, oh, I wore this on my first date. So those are the things that you have to consider. Those 3 questions you consider. And then what will be the last? The third one is, don't be afraid to have less. And I think this would also be good to remember, is at the end. So I discussed this principle, the 80-20 rule, which I think I said at our last session, was that 80% of the time, you're really just using 20% of your clothes. So, so if you see your patterns, like what did you wear yesterday? Or what did you wear? Did you wear it 2 weeks ago? Probably. because those are the same exact things that you want to wear. So in order to alleviate that feeling of like, oh well, I haven't worn this, then you rotate. Then you'll be more intentional to like, all right, if I'm keeping this, I have to wear it.
Yes. You know what? That is really good. Now, I did do those first couple questions. I usually ask myself, do I love it?
Mhm.
And how often do I wear it?
Yeah.
And I'm managing my closet usually once a month, but then I do a annual clean out and then I'll donate stuff. But I still haven't been able to get rid of the second closet. But I
Mhm.
like what you said about the 80-20 rule because during the quarantine, I can say there are some clothes that I did not wear. And I know once we go back out, I may wear some of them, but I'm going to start at that point to say, what can I get rid of that I probably will not wear
Right.
that the pandemic is over. I do have some clothes that I'm attached to,
Mhm.
but that's just a small amount. But to
Right.
me, I thought I had gotten rid of everything. I had answered all those questions, which led me to two closets because I did have three.
There you go. I mean, that is a win. Either way, you pared it down to what used to be three. Now you only have two.
Yeah,
So that is a win.
it's sad because I'm using the guest room closet and I have a walk-in closet. It's terrible, but um, I think that that's what I'm gonna do for April, and that leads me to my next question. So on April 1st, we're going to do a 30-day clutter cleanse,
Mhm.
and so how do we stay the course and not get burnt out in the 30 days? Any suggestions?
Sure. Before I say that, what will be the first? Do you know already what the first homework for the 30-day clutter cleanse is?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It is storage solutions.
Okay. So maybe we can add that the first one is to start with why you're clutter cleansing,
Okay.
because that really brings it in. Like that brings it into like you have to anchor it to something that is important to you. Because what I feel like the I feel like the trend now is, and I'm happy that it's a trend that everyone wants to get organized and minimalist as approach into life. But a lot of the times when we do it, there's no anchoring it as to why we're doing it. So it's a lot easier to go back to not being organized.
Mhm.
But with me, when you work with me as an organizer, I really go deep down as to like, why are we doing this? Is it for you to have more time for your family, in terms of not having to clean up the house every weekend? Because I want to put that into spending time with my family, relaxing. It could also be like if your pantry is more organized, then there's you love cooking more because you know exactly where you're gonna take it. It's almost like, oh, you know where the salt and pepper is, you know where this and this is. So, what is your intention as to why you're doing the clutter cleanse? Anchor it to something that is important to you. So once that is solid, you know why you're doing the clutter cleanse. It's a lot easier to not get burnt out because you know there's like an intention behind why you're doing it. You start with a why. Um, and then another suggestion would be same thing with what my suggestion with closets is, start small. If you really want to dig into making it into a habit, make simple small steps instead of taking like the leap of like I'm just getting rid of everything, because that is like what I've noticed with just experience, and it's also with the books that I've read, the audiobooks that I've listened to.
Uh,
It A lot of them say that if you don't do it in simple steps, it's a lot easier for the person to go back to being cluttered because they didn't go through the process properly. There wasn't any um progressive thing that happened. It was just like clutter's gone, now what? So clutter accumulates yet again. So I think that's one thing.
I'm pretty sure you probably found this out with a lot of your clients too. it was draining to see everything, to work at home. A lot of people had to find a place and a spot to work at home. I guess that's what I'm getting at. It was like you were forced to.
You're forced to watch your clutter be on your house, like and for it to accumulate and to have to take care of it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because now it's like, oh, I got to find a quiet place to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I also am so passionate about that. Like, I don't think many understand how much it could really impact you. Your space can really impact your well-being, your mental health, the way you physically, the way you physically feel.
Yeah.
You're like what you're saying, like, yes, it's just clutter. Yes, it's just like we just cleaned out, but like it's physically exhausting. It's mentally exhausting, and you still have work to do. You know what I mean? So like on top of your work, your actual work, you have work because you're working from home, you noticed more.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, that's why I really want people to really think of clutter as it takes up energy from you. It's not just stuff like when you go shopping, it's not just stuff that you're bringing into the space, but you're letting this particular item, whether it's a tiny one, big one, take up space in your physical space. But in reality, that also takes up space mentally because there's more things to clean. Yeah. There's more things to worry about. You're not as relaxed as you would want, but in reality, it's your space. It should be where you would feel the zen. This is where you should feel relaxed.
Yeah, yeah. So I was thinking about how important it is to have a designated space in your home for items such as, keys and cell phones and eyeglasses, your wallet, because they say that studies have shown that people spend an average of 10 minutes looking for these items that I just mentioned. So do you have a tip that you can share with us on how we can stress less and find those items fast?
I do. I actually do. So last time I shared with you my art cart, and I'm going to use it as the same example.
Okay.
Because it's a dollar store find. You can buy it. It's cheap. What I suggest, how we all have junk drawers or we all have kitchen drawers, right? One of them ends up being the one that houses all the junk. But what it is it just needs to be containerized, like it has to be in simple, small things that are exact for what they are. So like, let's say this is for my electronics and I have one that is, I'll just pan it this way. There. So I have one for electronics. I have one for my pencils, my staplers. But what that does is it might be a very small thing that you're doing, but in reality, you're putting a system in place. You're training your brain that this is where the keys belong. This is where the sunglasses go. This is where you are going to find it. In reality, organization is really all about putting in those systems and training your brain into making those systems happen. So I think it goes back to what I was saying, that the trend of organization is you see it very aesthetically. It's beautiful, right? Like you'll see pictures of beautiful pantries, but take into consideration who's using those pantries, like, or if you are going to want to achieve that kind of pantry. Is everybody in the family of 5 going to put it back to where it should go? So when I say that you have to implement systems, it goes back to your habits. Are you willing to put in the habit of putting those things again and again? Because at the end of it, yes, we can put all of the storage solutions into our homes, all we want. But at the end of the day, it boils down to you putting and being intentional and putting it back there. You're not going to put it on the kitchen counter. You're going to put it where you yourself have appointed it to. So I'm in the process of making courses where people, and it's going to be called From Hot Mess to Organized Badass. Yes. I think that everybody, whether you are I've personally been a hot mess at one point in my life, Everybody goes through it. But for me, you can't have, so I developed a 4D system that you can implement, and I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah.
So the 4D system starts with the first D, and that's dissect. Dissect is when I said that like you should start with your why, the same way that you should also try to pinpoint why you were disorganized. So with your case, for example, like I know I was organized, but I didn't get to teach my kids to organize the way that I do. So let's fix that. You dissected. You knew exactly where the root of why the home is disorganized. So now we go to the next one, and it's called declutter. So the declutter process, because I think what has happened now is everyone just jumps into the declutter. Like what you're saying, like we get rid of everything and we're good. We can get organized. But in reality, you really have to point it as to why you're doing what you're doing. So when we get to the declutter part, we now start seeing what works and what doesn't work. So like, let's say, for example, in a pantry, if everybody is agreeing that the top part would be for grains and pasta, then we're not going to fix that anymore. That's where it's going to be. And then the next one is, all right, there's no system. We all huddle up. Everybody in the house should be involved in this because at the end of the day, they're all using it. So they have to be part of the system. That's where the decluttering, letting go of the things that is not necessary anymore. And the third one is designate. And designate is pretty much the same thing as sorting your items. But designating also means you choose a specific place where you are going to commit that you're going to put it back.
Yes.
Kind of like what I was tapping into, like, yes, we can definitely make all the systems in place, but at the end of the day, it falls on the fourth D, which is do. Ooh. It's all about habits. It's all about you being able to commit to what you say you're going to do. And that's all about organizing. It is just habits, systems, letting your brain, it's almost like clockwork for me now that like, you know what I mean? Like you set a system in place, you train your brain that like, nope, this is where it goes. This is where it goes. And then now it's like my body knows where things are without even having to think.
Without even having to think. And I love what you said, because how many people run around looking for the keys?
Right.
Looking for the keys. And it's like, if you just hang your keys up, I hang my keys up in my laundry room because when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. I don't have time to be looking for no keys.
Exactly.
Put my cell phone in the same place and my eyeglasses in the same place at night, you know, and we have a charging station.
Right. There you go. And you know what? It saves you the stress of being late. It saves you the stress of actually looking for it. Because like if you think about it, your morning, if you have a routine, your day is better.
Yeah.
If you wake up and you're like, oh shucks, I'm late, things just snowball to being a really bad day for you.
That's
you know?
That's true. That's true. And it starts at home. Yep, you're right. If you can just grab your keys, grab your phone, grab your purse, and be out the door, you're right. Your day tends to go better. Yeah. Right. Versus being late, you start off, already spending 10, 15 minutes looking for something. Now you're late.
Right. And your mood, it goes back to what I say, that like organization can really impact your mental well-being. Yeah. Because now you're either upset or mad, and that's not good. But if you started your day knowing where your keys are, yours is in the laundry, you're ready to go, you're in higher spirits, you're better, you're in a much better mood, you're not late, no one's getting mad at you. And it's a cycle that you have to keep on committing to, because it will lead to positivity.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, the cycle. So dissect, declutter, designate, and then do.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And you said you're coming out with a course?
I am. It's still in the works. I think it's either going to be 5-part or 6-part.
Okay.
And I'm going to test it out for maybe 6 people first. because I really want to see how it's going to work. The price would probably be in the middle of my pricing for virtual organizing and my pricing for actual organizing. Okay. So it'd be like for people who don't really want to do the virtual or can't really, who want to do more than the virtual and can't really go jump just yet to the actual me going into people's homes.
Okay. I'm excited. Okay, so yeah, you'll have to let us know when you roll it out once you're done the testing phase. I thought she'd be part of the testing.
There you go.
I did a book though, and I use it every year for the clutter cleanse, and that's This Mess is Blessed. And I did do a 30-day journal in there. And so it's really good. And I also suggest that they hire a professional organizer for people who are really struggling.
Right.
Really, we may want to go a little deeper, like take your course, maybe have you come over.
And clutter really is it. And I keep drilling this in that, like, it's very connected to your mental well-being. So the things that we see on TV, the ones that are hoarders, they suffer from chronic disorganization. That's an actual thing that has to be dealt with, not just a professional organizer, but also a therapist.
Right.
Because at that point, a person has already connected themselves to their things.
Yeah.
So if you're in the middle of that, of like, no, I think I can let go, but you're closer to that, then yes, I would suggest you definitely go for the actual I need to come in, because it is overwhelming. Stuff is overwhelming.
Yeah. And
if you have tried to tackle it 1 time, 2 times, even 7 times and without success, then I highly suggest to get a professional to help out.
Yeah, I like that too. And the thing about it, since you are a professional organizer, you're able to discern who needs a therapist,
yes.
And maybe you could come alongside, and maybe they need a little therapy, or maybe they just need a new perspective. Maybe you overlook some things.
Right.
Or maybe just need to get some new ideas. And so that's another thing I love too, that a professional organizer can do.
When you are hiring an organizer, you're not really just looking for solutions for your organizing dilemma. You're really helping, or in my case, I feel like I'm helping somebody out and holding them accountable so they could become better. Whether it's to get out of clutter, whether it's to be more productive, it's just to make you better. I'm assisting somebody to make them better. And the way that I and kind of like what you say, there's so many solutions, there are various solutions, storage solutions that we could discuss. But at the end of the day, it really is up to one person, which they choose to do.
Yeah.
And what works for them.
Yeah. And, it is an ongoing process.
Yes. I agree. And I say that too, in my platforms, that organizing is not a project, it's a process. Mm. It's not something that you can just quickly, I am organized now. No, it comes with the 4th D, and it is all about you committing to doing the things that you agreed that you're going to do. Yeah. If that falls, that's fine. You go back to the 1st D, and then you go again and try to get yourself to the do part, which is the habits, and creating those systems and really being adamant in putting them into place.
Okay. And so do you do 2 different styles? Do you actually just give solutions with your clients, or do you actually help them do the work, or how does that work?
So right now I have 2 different programs with different tiers. So the virtual organizing, it's the same. I do the 4 steps of we talk about why you're doing this. We declutter, we designate, and I follow up with, are you able to keep what we talked about? So I do the storage solutions. The designate is when I give you suggestions on how to put things together. The declutter process is when I when I coach you on what to keep, what not to keep, why do you think you're attached to this? It's the coaching aspect. Like I'm asking, you're challenging the person on on how badly they want to get organized.
Oh, okay.
And then as for the on-site, it's the same process. We talk about first at the beginning, we talk about what your intentions are, and then I show you how you can declutter your space. I instruct you as I'm there. And then the next session of me coming over would be us sorting things through. And then the last session of me coming over would be us putting things together.
Oh, okay. So you are hands-on.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good because it's hard sometimes for people, don't know where to start. So it's good. I love your program.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because when it's a lot, especially like maybe a garage or something, you're like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, now garages are definitely one of the hardest ones on site. It's where clutter, that's where I joke about, like, that's where things die, because like that is where you take it out of your house thinking that, like, well, it's gone now, but really it's in your garage. So it's still within it's a belonging that you still have, and then you forget about it for years.
Yeah.
And then now you have to, and then for whatever reason, whether you're wanting more storage or wanting to declutter the garage, then those things pile up. Like that's when you start seeing, like, oh wow, I didn't know I had that couch, or like that
I noticed too with the quarantine, we had started ordering, even in December for Christmas, and even now we had ordered a lot from Amazon.
Yeah.
Man, we had a lot of boxes.
Right.
Yeah. And so I noticed that I had started using my garage because generally when I go to the shopping, like at the mall, I come in with a bag and I just throw the bag away. But with Amazon, I noticed I had started accumulating a lot of boxes.
Right.
It's different than the bags that you can just throw away. And so when I went out to my garage,
you saw hella boxes.
Yeah, because here's the thing, I don't break them down right away because I don't want to throw my address,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I noticed that I had been accumulating the boxes, and then I just started the other day. I said, you know what? You need to tear this address off right away because I'm starting to get, I have 4 or 5 boxes, it's so quick.
Yeah, right.
And then if you let it pile up and you don't recycle, you end up with 20, 30 boxes.
Right. Yeah. So what my husband and I do is he does the breaking down. I make sure to take the label off. But we don't do it all the time. I mean, it's not kind of like what your system is. It's you put it there, you forget about it, but we gotta make sure that we do it at least once a month to break them down and recycle them. So that way, if it all depends on your threshold for clutter, right? So for us, we don't really buy a lot from Amazon. We try to, again, at also like the practice of like not really buying too much. But when it does, like, because like we get our dog food from there, so that's a big box. Or we like home products, like we get it from there, and then it's a big box. So even if it's like 2-3 boxes, but they're accumulating like a lot of space, then like, okay, maybe we need to break this down sooner than later. So I would suggest to have implement a system that would not necessarily take too much from you, but know that like if there's somebody in the house that is better in cutting the boxes, that's their job, and then your job is to just take off the label.
Thank you so much. How much I owe you for that? Yeah. That is awesome because that tends to be my job. But my husband won't throw them away if the label is on there. So I think what I'll do is I'll make sure maybe every couple of weeks that I'll go out and make sure I do the labels and then have him break them down and discard them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes my son does it as well, but it's so funny. They know not to do it if the label is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got that process in place.
They know. Yeah. So it's now up to you, right? To like take off the label.
Yeah. So I got to do my job. Thank you so much for that. That is awesome.
Paparazzi Accessories is beautiful costume jewelry at an affordable price. All pieces are nickel and lead free, and most pieces are only $5. We also offer a great collection for men that they will surely love. I provide a personal one-on-one service in person and virtually to assist you in selecting those lovely pieces for that special event. Feel free to check out my website at sherryjewels.com or contact me on Facebook at sherryjewels.com.
I wanted to ask you, do you have a favorite room in your home?
Good question. I would say because our house is built that the living, the dining, and the kitchen are all in the same grand area where it looks like it's like we live in a loft. It's like an apartment, you know what I mean? That's my favorite spot because me, for example, like this where I'm at, I'm in my closet in the master's bedroom. What? My office, yeah. I don't know if I could fan it, but like this is definitely like my office. Oh. But it is a rolling cart, and I just push it back, and then I'm looking at my the main bedroom. This is where my husband and I sleep. So this is my office. He has his own office in a separate bedroom, but when we're done with work, especially during the pandemic, it's where you congregate, like that's where the dogs are. That's where we eat. That's where we hang out after work. So I do love that. We call it the pod because like the dogs know that like when we're off work, we go on our couch and they all go there, and it's a nice, and then like all the snacks are there too, close by. So it is my favorite spot. The next would be the kitchen because I love cooking.
Oh man, I don't know, man. If I live where you live, I might like the room you're in right now. It looks so nice and peaceful. My favorite room is the living room.
Okay.
Yep, my living room, because I tend to keep that room really neat. Mm-hmm. And clean, and I like my plants. And so when my grandchildren come over, they, especially my youngest grandson, he always say, "It looks like a jungle in here."
Well, I bet it's a nice jungle because like you got nice plants.
Yeah, he says jungle, but I think he really means like a rainforest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have really tall green plants.
That's
in
nice.
The living room, and I have a favorite place that I like to sit, look out the window. Yeah, and so
see, that's good that you have a spot in your home that gives you that. We all need that. Yeah. For me, it's the same thing. Like my living room is because here's where I work, so there I feel like this is where you can really relax. The dogs are with us. The TV is there. And again, like even if like let's say my husband is by the TV and I'm in my kitchen, it's still very relaxing to me because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And you're right, it's clutter free.
Yes, yes. You know, it's so relaxing, and I get a sense of calm. Where I'm at right now is my office. And I like my office too. I actually have a water. I think I was telling you last time we talked, I have a waterfall here in my office. And I have my background is actually, it covers like 2 of my walls. And I used to like my office, but lately I've been liking my living room. It
could be the greenery.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what's pulling me there. And you know what though too, in my office I have files, and it makes me think of work.
Yes. I was thinking the same thing. I was just like, maybe I shouldn't have because like I was thinking about it now. I was like, I don't necessarily like this room because this is where I work, but then it's my bedroom and this is where we sleep. So I should like it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's when I come in here, I really should be working. I should be getting something done. And when I go in the living room, I know I'm off or I'm working at that moment. So yeah.
That's important. That is, like you mentioned, that working from home has stressed out a lot of people. And like for me, for example, like I put it in a closet. So, you know, I'm separated the same way that my husband is separated from me from working, because he needs his space to work. I need my space to work. So living room, kind of like your living room, is where you find that like this is home. This is going.
Call it the pod. I like that.
We do call it the pod because like that's where we hang out during the weekends. That's all we're gonna do because it's in the pandemic. So where else are you gonna go? The couch is where you go.
Yeah. Well, my husband's favorite room, he's in the den, even though it's kind of semi-connected, but I made it his man cave.
Okay.
Yeah, it's where our TV is at. Because in the living room, I don't have a TV yet. My daughter and my grandchildren keep saying, you need to put a TV in. But I refuse to do it right now.
Don't do it.
No, yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, and so, yeah, he hangs out in the den where the TV is. And the other thing he's been doing lately is puzzles. And so I bought him a bunch of puzzles. And so he has the TV and he does his puzzles.
I should see. It's so funny that you mentioned that. I swear to God, like 4 days ago, my husband was asking, like, do we have any puzzles left? And I was like, where did that come from? Why are you looking for puzzles?
Wait a minute. Okay, good. So my husband and I, we're trying to find someone locally because I've probably bought him about 15 puzzles. And he keeps putting them together so fast, right? And I kept saying, we need to find someone where we can
exchange.
Yes. So you let me know if your husband wants to.
Yeah, because like what we had done in the past is when we put them together, you put it in a cardboard, and then you either you hang it or you put it as a display. But then I think about the puzzles that we like; they're not really the aesthetic that I want on the walls. So I would be definitely open to that.
Yeah, you'll have to ask him. And it's funny you said that because the puzzles that I buy him are just so beautiful. So I did buy the puzzle glue, and I glued one, and I have it hanging in the bedroom. But he doesn't want me to do that anymore because there's like a cycle that we're going to do because I'm buying so many. And he goes, I can put it back together, like maybe in another year.
Yeah.
And he was the one who was thinking because one of his cousins, but she's in Michigan, does puzzles. And I was like, well, we could do a trade-off with her, but I was like, can we find someone local?
We could start a puzzle group.
A puzzle group. Yeah, that's what we have to do. That's what I told him. I said, because he puts them together so fast, we need like 3 or 4 people in the group.
I'm down. It's like a book club.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Katrina, he even made a table. And he has a table with pull-outs. Drawers on it, and because he's really into this puzzle thing, and so he groups all his colors. Oh my goodness, he's too now. You talking about being organized? He is too funny. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was going to try to do a contest with him because like 1,000-piece puzzle is no challenge for him. So I do the 2,000. But I was like, it'll probably take me a month. It only takes him it'll probably take him 7 to 10 days to do 2,000. I'd probably still be working on it. The pandemic would be over.
Like 10 months in and you're still like halfway done.
So I'm just like, you know what? And so I might have to start buying 2 because they're so beautiful. I just want to glue them all and keep them together. So I'll have to figure that part out. But I want to ask you where can we find you?
Sure. So I have my website called badasshomelife.com. And then I also have my Instagram page under Badass Home Life. And I believe I am on Facebook, Badass Home Life LLC. But if you just type down Badass Home Life on Google, I'll be the first person you'll see on there.
All right. Yes, I've been to your website. I like your website. Yes.
Thank you.
And you have you've been doing YouTube tutorials?
So I think I need to ramp that up again. I think I need to do more content. I am falling behind when it came to content. But I think it was also because I was preparing the courses. But I think as soon as I do have the courses, I will start giving more tips, just little snippets of what you could expect from the courses.
Yeah, hey, being busy. Hey, I'm not mad at you being busy, so.
Oh, another one. Yeah, another one to add is do what you can, do with what you have and do what you can.
Okay.
So that way, like, I'll give you, like, for example, like, these are takeout containers that we got, but they are in jars, but they keep it organized. So you don't have to go fancy.
You have them labeled. I like how you. Yeah. And then are those labels, did you type those or is that chalk? How did you do your labels?
I wrote them.
Oh, you have really good penmanship.
I'm thinking of selling my labels too. So
let me see those again. Yes, there you go. You wrote that?
I sure did.
Oh, Katrina, yes. You need to be selling those. Okay.
I think I am going to now.
Yeah. I'll take my percentage.
Okay.
I'm your manager, you know. No, that is awesome. Yeah, and that's another thing about me. Look, I'm a labeler.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I'll buy some from you. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they look.
I would love that.
Yeah, they look really, really nice.
I use paint markers. So it will go with whatever chalkboard labels we can get from it.
Because that's the only thing I haven't done. So last year when you and I talked, I don't know if you remember that closet. That closet did not look like that. So now I have like 1, 2, 3.
Was that your third closet?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 baskets.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm in my office right now. And what I did is I took, this office is really a bedroom. This is another extra bedroom. So the bedroom where I have my clothes, you know, my second set of clothes is an extra bedroom we have, which we call the gym. And it's just our workout equipment is in there.
Okay.
But I'm using the closet. And then here in the office, it has a closet. And I put what I did is I took off the doors.
Uh-huh.
I have 2 pink curtains.
Okay.
And I close it for curtains, but then I went and bought those little baskets. And so I have 16 baskets.
What do you have sorted in the 16?
Oh, okay. So it's the items that I sell, my journals.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
my personal journals are in there. My water bottles are in there. Also, I have one for all my shipping, like my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that. And then I also sell greeting cards like that. So that's what it would have. You could
So
probably
it's
get.
like your mini store.
Yes, exactly. Yes, yes. My mini store is in there. Yes. And then I do have my painting. I also have a second desk in my
Mhm.
office, and it's my art studio area
Okay.
in here too, as well. Yeah. And so in a couple of the baskets, I have art supplies.
So it's like crafting and like your products.
Yes. Yep. And products. Yep.
So
And then
that's good. At least like training your brain. This is where you can buy your merchandise. This is where you can find your merchandise, and then there's a separate one for your arts and
yes,
crafts.
yes, and I decided to do it that way because at one point I was going to use it for filing, but I'm just using my filing cabinet. I have a fireproof filing cabinet that I decided. I'm telling you, I did all of this last year. I got myself organized because it was so funny when I talked to you. I was a bit embarrassed when,
Oh,
when I had to show that closet because I did like I just did now when you did the commercial and I had to take my laptop and I go, okay, because when I talked to you last year in May, I had just did the bedroom,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
hadn't gotten to the office yet. Yeah. And so I got a lot of projects done.
Yay!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I guess just I wish everybody luck and well wishes to the ones who are going to do the 30-day clutter cleanse with joy. Again, start with your why. It will anchor you to what you need to do and how you're going to go about the next 30 days. And just be very kind to yourself. Don't push yourself to, if it's something so daunting as to like giving away, it feels like you're giving away a portion of you, don't do it. It's fine. If you're not in a hoarder situation, you're totally fine.
Yeah, yes. I always suggest before we start, yes, just pick something. It could be as simple as maybe your utensils in your kitchen, just
Yeah,
your drawer or a junk drawer in your
yeah,
bedroom. Yes. Please don't get overwhelmed.
yeah. No, and also no one ever regrets getting organized.
Yeah, no. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me today.
Of course.
Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you
You
for your
too, Joy.
tips. And I can't wait to you launch your course. Keep
Hmm.
in touch with me.
I will.
I will put your link, your website, and your email in this video, which will be on our YouTube channel.
Yes, I
And
did subscribe. I am subscribed to you. So I
okay,
will see
awesome,
that. Yeah.
awesome. Yes, yes. It's really nice to keep a relationship with people and to know that, you're still growing, you're still doing well. And so I wish you all the best. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right.